So, you've taken delivery of one of our Precision Matthews bench mills, and it's in a crate on your shop floor. It's not doing you much good there, so you need to get it safely onto the bench where it can earn its keep. I'm Charlie with Precision Matthews, and today we're going to go over how to maneuver your new mill into place without damaging your machine or dropping it on your foot. The crate will arrive at your door secured to a bottom pallet with steel banding as shown here. The stand and any accessories that you ordered will be secured to the top. Start by removing the lag screws around the bottom with an impact driver and a 5/16 socket. If you don't have a second employee at your location, you should have already called a friend and offered them pizza in exchange for an afternoon of labor. And now's the time to grab that friend and lift the crate straight off the top of the pallet. Next, you'll remove the 4 bolts holding the machine to the pallet using a 13mm wrench. Move the engine hoist into place. Note that we have removed the front and rear boards from the pallet as they extend above the deck of the pallet and block us from getting the legs of our engine hoist into the right position. We're using a commonly available engine hoist, but you could also use a gantry crane, forklift, or any other method of lifting that's rated for at least half a ton. You'll probably need a piece of scrap wood placed under the head of the mill that the strap can bear on. The main function of this wood is to spread the straps so that they don't rub on the side of the head and damage the lines or fittings for the one-shot oiler system. We used 3 pieces of wood stacked because that raised the mill up a little higher and made it easier to get on the bench. You could also just use a shorter strap to achieve the same effect. Slowly lift the mill until it's just off the pallet. An assistant should hold the machine steady and monitor it for potential shifting on the strap. When the mill is lifted and stationary, remove the pallet. It's always best to move the engine hoist with the mill as low as possible, i.e., don't crank it up to head height and then try to wheel it across the shop to the stand. It should be right next to the stand before it goes any higher than about a foot off the ground. This is a good place to remind you to observe all rigging safety guidelines. Most of that is common sense. Wear steel-toed boots if available, go slow, and mentally walk through every move before you make it. The final position of the mill and stand is something that should be decided before the mill is swinging in the air. Once the mill is next to the stand, raise it to stand level, move it into final position, and gently set it down. Then you can use an alignment punch, ladyfoot pry bar, or even just an old screwdriver that you don't care about to align the bolt holes on the mill with the bolt holes on the stand. Well, that was easy enough, but what if you don't have access to an engine hoist or forklift? Or what if you need to take the machine up or down a flight of stairs? You could lift it up yourself, but altogether this machine weighs over 350 pounds. So unless you intend to put your hernia surgeon's kids through college, we recommend disassembling this machine into more manageable chunks. Here's how we'll do that. The first step is to remove the head. You'll put 3 2x4s stacked under the head and 1 2x4 under the spindle. Then crank the head down until it's resting on the back stack of wood. Next, you'll lower the quill until the nose of the spindle is firmly placed on the front piece of wood and lock the quill in place. Now remove the 2 19mm nuts on either side of the head to free the head from the carriage. Then simply crank the Y-axis out to separate the head from the column. Note that the handle for the Y-axis hand wheel can't clear the front piece of wood, so we just used a punch. Or you can use that screwdriver you don't care about from earlier. A crappy old screwdriver is a powerful tool. The head weighs just over 70 pounds, so you could conceivably lift it yourself. But we're not trying to work that hard, so we're team lifting this. Set it on some cardboard out of the way. Next, we'll remove the table. I'm removing the gib screw on the wide end of the gib so that we can slide the gib out, while Gabe takes off the table stop. Then he's removing the mounting flange for the left hand wheel. You can push the gib out partially from the other end, and it will slide out further as you crank the table to the right. Eventually, you'll have enough gib showing that you can firmly grip it, pull it out, and drop it on the floor. Make fun of me in the comments for forgetting that whey oil is slippery. After much cranking, the lead screw will finally be free from the lead screw nut and you can slide the table the rest of the way off the dovetails. The table is around 70 pounds, so it's doable by yourself, but easy as a team. We settled on tipping the casting back, having one person handle the column and one person lift the base. There's even a convenient web in the casting under the base that serves as a good handhold. This method is also preferred because it keeps everyone's fingers out of danger. We tried lifting straight up with one person on each side, but using that method makes the load more top-heavy and prone to tipping than we'd like. Here we'll note that we placed bolts and washers into the two front holes to hold the chip tray in place while we maneuver the machine. Since the chip tray is sandwiched between the stand and the machine and not otherwise attached to the stand, it is prone to slipping around if you don't think ahead and include those bolts. We did not think ahead, but we're editing the video, so you'll never know that. As they say in the old Chilton manuals, assembly is the reverse of disassembly. Line the table dovetails up, get a few threads of engagement, and then have a friend help support the weight of the table until you can reinsert the gib. Make sure to support the weight of the table and don't allow its full weight to be concentrated on a small section of dovetail. That could potentially crack the end of your dovetail, and a crack like that will be invisible when the machine is assembled, but you'll know it's there. Oh, you'll know. Crank slowly until you get the gib in, then crank faster. Gabe installs the mounting flange, I put the gib screw back in and snug it down, and Gabe screws the table stop back in. Get the blocks from earlier and arrange them in the same orientation as before, 3 in the back and 1 in the front. Line up the mounting bolts and crank the table in. Even if you haven't touched the Z-axis crank handle, you may still need to nudge it one way or the other, as the head is probably not sitting in exactly the same orientation on the blocks as it was upon removal. You may also need to jiggle the head back and forth to get the ring gear on the back of the head to line up with the pinion gear used for adjusting tram. You may not get it exactly on the same tooth, and that's not a problem as long as it's meshing. You'll see that Gabe wiggles the worm shaft back and forth to get it to mesh as I tighten the nuts to draw the head to the column. If you skipped a tooth, just adjust the pinion gear until the arrows line up. The arrows are just an approximation, and you'll need to tram the head anyway, so don't stress about that part. All that's left is fastening the mill to the stand with the provided hardware. Bolt with washer on top, then a washer and a nut on the bottom. Snug those down and Bob's your uncle. Note that you only need to snug these bolts down with reasonable hand torque. If you get out the 3-foot breaker bar, you could actually warp the base casting, and X and Y travel won't be as square to one another as they should be. Now there's no harm done in that case, the casting springs right back when you loosen it, but I'm just mentioning it to save you the phone call. Last step is leveling the machine. Lots of people have an old machinist level kicking around somewhere in a drawer, but if you don't, we have one available. The link to our level is in the description. Once the machine's leveled, you're ready to tram the head and make some chips. Now that wasn't so hard, was it? So whether you're disassembling and lifting into place with a friend, or using an engine hoist or forklift, either method achieves the same ends. There are many ways to get the job done, but if you follow the principles laid out in this video, you'll get your mill into place safely and efficiently. As always, make sure you're subscribed to our channel for more tips and tricks like this, and leave us a comment if there's something you want us to cover in a future video. Thanks for watching.